this event today is about time management, so we want to be cognizant of everybody's time. So we will go ahead and get started. Let me get him in here. So welcome, everybody. My name is Carrie Knuth. I'm the Assistant Director of Student Life for our Ivy Tech Fort Wayne campus. And we have a lot of things going on today and moving forward. So today's presentation is our first presentation as part of our Student Life Leadership Development series that we are offering. So several of you have registered for that and you are here today. If you haven't registered for that, there is still time. We are taking those series participants until May 1st. So you can either check these events out live like you are today, or you can check it out on our encore performances that will be available on our YouTube channel, which is link.ivytech.edu/Titan2. So thank you for being here today. Today's event, we are doing a couple drawings, so stay tuned at the end of the event for our winners. We are doing a live drawing today for $50 to Kroger. And then if you are participating on the video, we are doing 2 additional drawings next week. On the date is the 31st, and as long as you've watched the video by the 31st and logged your participation, you'll also be entered into the second drawing for 2 Chick-fil-A gift cards. So stay tuned for that information. Okay, so today I'm really excited to introduce our presenter. He's going to be with us throughout this series for the rest of the semester, Dave Kelly. Dave Kelly is a professional speaker, trainer, author, and coach. He has spoken and trained professionally more than 500 times during his career, including over 100 virtual presentations. So he's very familiar with this. He has been a leader in student government and organizations such as Circle K International, where he served a term as international president. He's an award-winning advisor and is involved in community through his Kiwanis clubs. He is the national coordinator of the APCA Serves program, the Community Engagement Initiative for the Association for the Promotion of Campus Activities, which Ivy Tech is a member of, and was also named APCA Campus Speaker of the Year in 2019. So please welcome Dave Kelly.
Thank you, Carrie, and thank you all for being here today. I'm excited to be with you. This is a great topic, one that I really enjoy, and I want to pull up my PowerPoint here so you can see my slides. And as we go through this, I'll be using that to help you. If you are using the handout that was sent out prior, then you'll be able to fill in the blanks with information off of these slides. You'll also, if you can pull that up on a computer, it's a fillable PDF, so you can actually type the answers in. And Carrie, I think you have the link. If you wouldn't mind popping that in the chat, just in case somebody hasn't quite had the opportunity to grab it yet, I'd appreciate that. Or if you'd like to open it up on your phone or a tablet, anything that has a camera, point it at that QR code, and you can do that. Those of you who are watching the recording, that might be your best way to get that, although the bit.ly link is below if you would like to get it that way as well. So lots of ways to access the handout so that you can follow along. There will be some keyword fill-ins for you, but also this will be a bit of a working workshop. So you'll have a chance to put into practice some of the things that I'm going to be talking about here today. So we're going to get right into this, because when we talk about using your time effectively, we've got to make sure that we're using our time effectively. And here's what I think about this. When I think about this topic of time, we know that there's 24 hours in every day. And in every hour, there are 60 minutes. And of course, in every minute, there's 60 seconds. That means in any given day, there are 1,440 minutes or 86,400 seconds. Doesn't 86,400 of anything seem like a lot? And I'm looking and I'm seeing smiles and nods. Yeah. The problem is, it's never enough, is it? No, it's never enough. And so we want to make sure that you get the chance to be able to use your time most effectively. And so this is about using your 24/7 the best way that you can. So think about this. What are the things you do with your time? And now I invite you, I've got my chat box open. You can go in and you can chat some of the things that you do. I did this morning. I did hit my snooze once. And then I got up after that because I had to Zoom all morning long, as I was telling some of you. So that's something that people do. What are some other things that you do during the course of your day? Just go ahead and type in the chat, or you can unmute if that's easier for you. Just go ahead and unmute and say it.
Write in my planner.
Write in your planner. Sure, absolutely. So you're writing in your planner to plan your time, and you have to take time to do that. So yeah, anyone else do anything? Read, learn, emails, plan an outlook. Yep, yep, lots of that. Walk. Oh yeah, that's a good thing. We can go out now and we can walk. It's nice. It's getting to be springtime. Sure. Does anybody watch TV? Yeah, any TV watchers, and that includes Netflix and all those other things that you might watch from another device. Oh, listen to music. Sure. By the way, you know what TV stands for? Time vacuum. So keep that in mind. We used to have a channel. I think they still have it. We don't have cable anymore because we've gone the cut the cable route. A channel here on our cable station, and it was called Peachtree TV. And every night, literally 7 nights a week, at 7 to 8 o'clock, they played Family Guy for an hour. Then TNT would play it for 3 hours. Then Cartoon Network would play it for an hour. And then at that time, I also had the access to the West Coast feed of TNT or TBS, and I could watch those Family Guy ones that had aired earlier from their West Coast feed. Yeah, I learned I had to plan my time with the TV a lot better than I was doing. So that is where it comes to time vacuum. We've got Netflix, walking dogs, hanging out with your husband, talking with students, sure. Sleeping, oh yeah, sometimes we even sleep. How can we hit the snooze alarm if we don't sleep? And I don't think I even saw anybody put this. Oh yeah, here's eating. I was looking for eating, so there you go. And so we've got some walking. Maybe some people do a little bit more of an intense workout. So there's a lot of things we do with our time, and so we've got to be able to use it effectively. And we don't have the ability of some of these icons from literature and TV to be able to we don't have a TARDIS to be able to go through time like Doctor Who does. So we can't do that. We don't have the DeLorean, which I don't have a picture here, from Back to the Future to be able to go back in time. Most of the time, we're like the White Rabbit from Alice in Wonderland. We're late for a very important date, or we're like Jack Bauer from 24, and while we're yelling at Chloe, who always got yelled at, somehow he manages to defeat terrorists, defuse bombs, do all kinds of things, and get across Los Angeles in less than 10 minutes in some sort of magical vehicle, all without sleeping, eating, or using the restroom. So we don't have these advantages. We have got to be able to find ways to use our time effectively. In fact, we have to be able to account for even as little as I just wasted 5 seconds of your lives that you're never going to get back. How many of those do you have in your life? Or 1 minute wasters, or 1 hour wasters, or whatever it might be. I'm going to talk with you about some ways to use your time more effectively. So here's where we're going to get into the handout. On the very first thing on your handout, I'm going to invite you to, if you had a business card that listed everything that you do or who you are, what would be on it? And so if you have the handout, you can write that in, or just have a piece of paper, write it down. Some of my stuff would be professional speaker, author, trainer, coach. Those are actually on my business card. I'm also a member of Kiwanis, 2 different clubs. That's a community service group. For a long time, I was a state advisor for a collegiate group called CKI. I am a trainer for a restaurant group here in Atlanta. So I do some contract training. I also coach students at Emory University. So that's us within that coaching realm, but I've got that. What else do? Occasionally, I do background extra work on TV shows and in movies. If you watch a movie called What Men Want with Taraji P. Henson really closely, you can see me for about 9 seconds over her shoulder in one of the scenes. Now I'm famous. So I do things like that. And what else do I have going on? I'm a dad. I'm a husband. Well, my wife has 5 cats. I was going to say we have 5 cats, but I have to hang out with them, usually at their command. Occasionally, we help our neighbor walk her dog. So we do a little dog walking. Got a lot of stuff going on. I'm a Green Bay Packer fan. I'm even an owner of the team. Those are all the things that would be on my business card. So I'm going to invite you to, guess what? Put your business card listings in the chat, or if you'd like to unmute, I'd love to hear them verbally as well. So feel free to do that. Hey, appreciate it. Go Packers. So who wants to share? Who will share their business card listings? Oh, here we go. We got Samantha. Equine assisted therapy volunteer, registered behavioral technician, disability associate, student coach, student advocate, volunteer, dog foster, dog mom, soccer player, and Huntington University graduate. Wow. Whew, that would be a long business card. Yeah, and so we've got all these things. Maybe some of you are video game players. That you, if you're a gamer, that would be on your card. That takes up a lot of time. Getting a lot of support for the Packers. I appreciate that and love it. Go Pack, go! I agree. Thank you, Packer fans. So there's a lot that we have going on, and feel free to keep posting those in the chat. But I want to talk about how are we going to manage and use our time effectively with all of this stuff that we've got going on. All right, here we go. Here's some fill-ins for you. Your first thing is this is all about maximizing your time. And that's what I'm going to do is giving you some ways that you can do that. Think about how you can best maximize your time. And your fill-ins will be, as shown here, bolded and underlined. So not a lot of them, just enough keywords to keep you connected, but also to give you some things that you can take away from this program. How do you maximize your time? Well, first of all, work on that which is most important. I know, mind blowing, right? But you know, how many times do we fall into these other things? One of the things that I do is I close tabs of things that can distract me and take me down the rabbit hole. Sirius XM, news channels, other things that can do that. Only things when I'm during my working day, Netflix, close that so I don't see what the latest thing is, or YouTube. Oh, I want to see 10 things that I didn't know about Die Hard. No, I don't have time for that right now. So I close those tabs when I'm working. So that way I can focus on what's is most important. With my work, social media is a part of that, but I only do go on to those when I during my workday when I have something to post, or if I'm looking to direct message somebody, or if I get a notification about something from like Carrie or somebody like that. Then I go into the social media during the course of the day. Here's another thing that I do is I do the dreaded thing first. The dreaded thing is that thing that you don't want to do. I'm a post-it note guy. I write down on post-it notes things that I have to do. How many people are like me? Where you do that, you write them on post-it notes. Or I've fallen into this thing of old envelopes. I like to use old envelopes so I can write multiple things down. And I found that what was happening, especially back when I was in the mortgage business, before I was a speaker, I would have all these post-it notes of people I had to call back and things. And I would get to my desk in the morning and I would look and I'd go, oh, I don't want to call them. And ooh, I don't want to deal with that. And oh, I cannot handle her. And then I would work on the other stuff. And what would happen the next day? I'd come back down to my desk and it's like, oh, I still don't want to talk to her. Can't handle this. Hey, Jim. And I found that I was spending more time avoiding the dreaded things, the things that I didn't want to do, than it would just take to just do them. And the image there, and I think Tamara picked up on that, is there's a speaker named Brian Tracy, and he says, you go out and you swallow the day's first frog. And that's what the dreaded thing is. Do it, get it done. And then you get a victory. And then you can do like I do. You take that post-it note and you crumble it up and you throw it across the room. I usually add an evil laugh. And it really helps make my day. And I've accomplished something. I've gotten that out of the way. I've gotten a victory and I'm ready to go on to something else. So do the dreaded thing first. With your workspace, and we're all working from home right now, I know, you've got to organize it so that you're able to be productive. And this was a thing, this was a challenge. You know, I've always had an office from home because I previously was in the mortgage business. I worked from home. And then as a speaker, I worked from home. But I can tell you there was a time when I was kind of doing a little of both and a little of everything, where I had files on my desk of mortgage loans I was working on and files of connections and contracts with schools that I was talking to. I was still a state advisor for that collegiate group. So I had papers and notes about that. And it was really getting frustrating. And actually, my desk got to a point where it kind of looked like this. And that wasn't very good. And so you can't really get done things. And here's my quote: you can't create success in a mess. And I learned that very quickly. And I had to relearn that about a year ago when I found I had to kind of expand my scope of things that I was working on. And so, and then of course, my wife was at home working and my daughter was in school and had a full-time job. And so we were all working and they would like to come out during the course of the day and hang out with me. So I had to transfer my business to the dining room table so that we could all kind of have a community place to work. It really was a matter of organization. So what did I do? I took those things that I didn't need to work on and I put them away, either in a desk drawer or I have a side table now set up next to the dining room table that whatever I'm not working on is over here, because you can only really work on one thing effectively at a time. And I found that all that other stuff in front of me would affect my attitude, because I would get frustrated that I had all this other stuff I had to get to and I couldn't get to it. And I was overwhelmed with all the work that I had to do. Said, put it out of sight. And then when it's time to work on it, you pull it out, and that's the next thing that you do. And I'm going to give you some formats for being able to organize your day in such a way that it's not like, oh, it's forgotten over there. No, you'll know what you have to do next. Then, so we talk about Workspace. We would like it to look like this. My wife put these images together, and I said, I really don't need 2 slides that say the same thing. And she says, after you show the messy desk, you have to show a clean one. So there you go. Let's think about our distractions. Those are the enemy of your priorities. And I want you to think about, what are the distractions you have? And actually, a lot of the things you listed up at the beginning here, when I asked what you do with your time, some of that can be distractions. Pets. We have this one cat who likes to come, and literally he will come and stand on me until I hold him. How many of you have cats? You know that when they want attention, they got to get it. And he does this 4 or 5 times a day. And I can't not do it because he's a biter. And so I just have to stop and allow that. Or I huddle in close to my laptop and I'm like, not right now, Solomon, not right now. And so you have to control this time. Dogs have to be walked. So you have to take time to go and take them outside. So that can be a distraction. Other distractions, I talked about TV, how that Family Guy used to be a distraction for me. For a little while, Netflix was, until I kind of got that under control. And they've gotten a little bit more used to the idea of, oh, it's streaming. That means I can watch it whenever I want. I don't have to watch it the day it comes out. So that helped me out. But there's other distractions: video games, social media, family. We've all had that happen many times. When I'm working and my wife needs a break from her work, she'll come talk to me. And it's like, just a minute, let me finish this one thought, and I will finish typing. It's like, okay, now. And you have to control those distractions. What about other things? Like, you don't have to raise your hand on this, but if you're a smoker, you have to go outside, right? Even sometimes in your own house, you have to go outside. You certainly can't smoke in any building in this country anymore, pretty much. So that's a distraction. I mentioned I do training for a restaurant group. We have people who have to go out and have smoke breaks. Is that really fair to the people who don't need smoke breaks? So that becomes a distraction. For other people, alcohol, drugs, these all can become distractions. So I think about a guy when I was in college. His name was Butch. Pardon me, and we were in student government together. And I would typically, when I was vice president pro tem of our SGA, I would be in the student government office every day. And so he would typically come wandering in. And back in those days, the drinking age was a little younger. So we actually had a beer and wine bar in our student center. And so he would come in and he would say, hey, it's afternoon, it's Monday, let's go down and get a couple pitchers of beer. Like, all right, fine. And Tuesday, he would come dragging into the student government office. Oh, I need some hair of the dog. Let's go downstairs and get some beer. And then, of course, Wednesday would come, and we all know what Wednesday is: hump day. And so, of course, you have to go have a couple of beers. And then what is Thursday in every college town in this country? Thirsty Thursday, right? And so, because it's almost the weekend. And then what are Friday and Saturday? A weekend. So, of course, you have to have beer those days. And then Sunday, he would call me up and say, dude, I cannot face the week ahead. Let's get some beer. He was in school before I got there. He was there while I was there. He might still be there for all I know. He could not turn it off. I was able to take and say, no, you know what? I'm going to not join in today, or I've got to go to class, or I've got a final I'm going to actually study for. You've got to be able to conquer your distractions. And that is the key, really, for, I think, using time effectively. Determine your priorities. What is most important to you? What's the most important thing in your life in order to conquer your distractions? That really makes a big difference. Once you can determine those things, that, wait a minute, it's much more important to me to get my book finished than it is for me to watch Jessica Jones on Netflix. I can parcel that out, and it's been there for 4 or 5 years. It'll still be there. That's a Marvel show, if you're not up on that terminology. So I want to talk to you a little bit about how to manage that. If you have the handout, if you go over to page 2, you will see a grid that looks a lot like this. And if you don't have the handout, quick, grab a piece of paper, draw a grid. And what I'm going to ask you to do is to take a moment and plan a given day, and it can be a real day. It could be tomorrow, or it could be just a typical day, and list all the different tasks that you have. And then don't do anything else, but just list the tasks. So the things you would want to list there would be maybe classes, going to school, going to work, I should say, um, fixing meals, taking a shower, whatever you have, working out, whatever things you have. Maybe there is a show that you want to watch when it airs. Okay, put that on the list. You got room for about 10. So take a moment and list those tasks. If you're watching the recording, you can do this too, because I'm going to explain how to use this to help you plan your day. I really want to ask Marissa about being a turtle mom. I just saw this in the chat.
So I have a 4-year-old niece and she's almost 5. Last year for her birthday, I asked her what she wanted for her birthday. And for 3 months straight, she told me she wanted a turtle. So I got her a live turtle. It's a baby turtle. And he has his own tank and everything. So yeah, I can't have any pets, nor do I have time to have like cats and dogs. But turtles are easy. You just gotta feed them once a day and turn their heat lamp on and keep their water and filter cleaned, and that's about it. So yeah, I've got and then she won 2 fish from the fair last year. So I also have fish as well. So I have a turtle and some goldfish.
There you go. That's the story. We started watching Elementary, and they have a recurring turtle character that shows up in their name, Claude. So lots of fun. All right. Now, what I'm going to ask you to do, even if you're still listing your tasks, is in order to plan your day, you've got to figure out your priorities. So I want you to take a look at that list. What is the most important thing you have to do on that list? It may not be the first thing you have to do in the day. Okay, follow me on that. So for me today, this is actually my first most important thing that I had to do, but it's not the first thing that I did today. So I put a letter grade of A next to program for Ivy Tech. Okay, so put that there. Okay, and then prior to this, I facilitate Zoom for my Kiwanis Club, and so that was my second most important thing. Because of the timing of it, I actually wasn't using my Zoom account today, so that was fine. It was a little bit lower priority. Then below that, I had take a shower because I want to look good, I want to feel fresh and all that. But you know what? Presenting for you is actually more important than me taking a shower. Now, if it was in person, that would be a higher priority. See how that works? So figure out what your priorities are, and maybe taking a shower is going to be Z on some days on your list. Feeding the turtle, that's going to be higher. So figure out what your priorities, but you can only have one A, one B, one C, no A1s, no A2s, no double A's unless you go all the way through to Z. So you've got to make your priorities. So go through and figure out what is going to be your top priority for the given day that you have selected. Then your second, and then the third would be C, and fourth would be D. Some of these you may not get to that day. That's okay. Then as you accomplish other things, tomorrow they are going to possibly move up in priority. And somebody might need to mute. So check yourself and see if you're muted. Is anybody having trouble with this? You know, sometimes it's gonna be, oh, I can't pick, I can't pick. Sometimes it is hard. But you've got to figure out what is the thing that if you couldn't do everything, what is the one thing you have to do? That becomes A. Or you get caught between D and E. Well, between those two, which one do you have to get done? That becomes D. It'll take about another 20 seconds. Homework. Is that a high priority, Gwendolyn, or is that a low priority? It's showing up for work. Joe, is that a high priority or is that a low priority? I'm not going to make you tell us your letter grade. So, all right, hold on to this because we're going to revisit this in just a moment. All right, now there's another method that you can use. And as we are coming up now on the end of the semester, the end of the school year is around the corner. This may be a format that will help you that you can use in conjunction with the grading method. By the way, I got both of these from an author named John Maxwell from a book called Developing the Leader Within. Great book. We used to give it to our student leaders every year when we were advisors. What you do is you take your priorities maybe over a longer period of time, and then you have to determine is what is their level of importance and what is their level of urgency. You can do this on a daily basis, especially if the grading method is a little bit of a struggle for you. Maybe come to here first. What is highly important, highly urgent? For me today, doing this program for you, editing the video is going to be highly important, highly urgent for me, so I can get that to Carrie so she can get it posted within a 24-hour period. The Columbus meeting was a high priority for me, and so those are some of my high priorities. What is really important but maybe low urgency? That might be where showering fits in. It's important, but how urgent is it? Well, you know, if I had stuff happening at 9 o'clock in the morning, it's going to be highly urgent. Yesterday, I didn't have stuff going on until 5 o'clock at night. I'm not going to tell you what time I'm showing. And then what is low important but high urgency? Solomon is not important, but it is highly urgent that he gets his attention when he wants it. So that will fit in there. And then low importance, low urgency, stuff like filing would be, but you want to get it out of sight, obviously. My file cabinets are in the basement. I work upstairs. So I have a place where I have a basket where I put things that have to be filed. And so that's something. About a year ago, my wife embarked, right about this time, on a shredding campaign to try and rid our lives of a lot of paper. And so it was really low importance because we'd had this stuff for a long while and it was low urgency. So she did it when she wanted to. And some days she really wanted to get 20 bags of shredding done. Okay, so that was her priority. So how do you translate this to school? Well, if you have a paper that's going to be due at the beginning of May, it's highly important, but today it's a low urgency item. What could be highly important or high urgency is picking your topic, creating your outline. Those could be today's high important, high urgency. Okay, and so that would be how maybe you would parcel some of that out. Low importance, high urgency, again, are going to be things that have to get done. Paying a bill, well, that's important. So paying a bill is important, but it's something you want to get done. Your dreaded things could be maybe low important, but they're highly urgent because you want to get them done and get them out of your life. So look at those types of things, and you can do this on a daily basis. This is also really great for long-term things. So think about how things would fit in there, and you can also use that. And now what I'm going to ask you to do is I'm going to give you a chance to go into breakout rooms. And there are, not counting Carrie and me, we've got 11 people I'll put in breakout rooms. So I'm going to create 3 rooms. So we'll have 3 or 4 people per room. Okay. And so I want to ask you to go in there and share your day, that grading method. What was your A, B, C, D, E, F, whatever it might be. And then if you've got some high important, high urgency, if you can share some of that, I'm going to give you 8 minutes, because I think we'll have about 4 people. You each have about 2 minutes to present your thing. And that can give ideas to other people like, oh, geez, I didn't even think about that. So that's what I'm going to ask you to do. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to stop the share because that allows me to see everybody on my monitor. And then I'm going to put you into the breakout rooms. Okay, everybody during the live presentation has gone into breakout rooms. So please pause the recording here and go ahead and do the grading method and also the high important, high urgency method as I instructed the people here in the live meeting, because when they come back, you're going to get to hear some of what they did, and that might help you as well. Thank you. All right, we got a few folks back. The other rooms will close in about 10 seconds, so we'll have everybody back. How was your experience in the breakout room? Robin, Thomas, and Tamara, sorry.
It was good. It was
good?
really good.
Did you get some ideas from other people?
I think so. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, we
Thomas
did.
has a great way to start his day. Yes.
Well, Thomas, what is it? What do you do to start your day? Oh, you're muted. There you go.
Start my day with the devotion and scriptures, and when I'm done, I send the scriptures out to other people.
Oh, that is a great thing. Wow. Well, at the end of this, I'm going to give you my email address. Feel free to start sharing with me.
Well, Andy works out, so you know he really does a lot of self-care.
Yeah,
Oh,
so
and then
he
leave
knows I don't
there
work
and get together and go to the YMCA.
Yeah, I don't work out, so you don't have to send me those, but I do walk a little. So, all right. Anybody want to share their A's or their B's, or maybe something that would surprise us that was low on your list?
I won't say who, but I think a couple of us in our group tend to put self-care low on the list, and that's something that really should probably be higher on the list so that we can accomplish all of the things that we really need to accomplish.
Yeah,
I actually
absolutely.
had a question about that. I asked it now. I was trying to wait till the end, but since you brought it up, so I'm definitely one of those people that I'm super busy and work 3 jobs and go to school. So when I'm making my priority list, it's really hard for me to add personal care on top of, at the top of the list. And normally it's not on the list at all in general. And so when you're talking about, prioritizing and, what's most important and what we would consider distractions, well, for me, because I'm so crazy busy, that watching that TV to relax or going to sleep early is my self-care. So I don't have a life out of sight of school and work, really. I see my niece sometimes, my boyfriend at night, but that's it. So what would you say on personal, self-care? Where should that be on your priority list?
Well, again, I think that's a personal thing. I think that it needs to be, I would say it needs to be there where it can be done daily. Thomas talked about the devotion. One of my resolutions at the beginning of the year was I get this daily devotional, and I've actually been reading it since August. And the person who writes it at the beginning of the year asked us to write down in a journal the scripture verse for every day, and then read it when we went to bed and when we got up in the morning. And he said, do that for the month of January. Well, I committed to keep doing that. I don't always read them out loud every morning and evening, but I have continued to be writing them down every day. And I find that is, like you said, watching TV, it's that thing that helps me relax. Now, I don't do it first thing in the morning, like Thomas is talking about, but I do plan it to be in my day, just depending on what my day holds. And right now he's using the Psalms, and they are very long. So it takes a while to write some of those. So that's a long answer. That worked for me. I think you have to do what works for you. And when we talk about a little bit about planning your day here in just a moment, taking time for TV and relaxation is definitely a part of it. Just plan it in. And it's the same thing for self-care. You've got to plan it in. For me to sit and veg out in front of the TV for 8 hours watching Family Guy, not good. But an hour of it, okay, that fits in, and I can plan that in. So that's the thing I would answer to you, Marissa, is finding those things that work as self-care for you, and where can you plan those things in. And maybe it's listening to music, to help you relax, or maybe it's listening to audiobooks while you're driving, or podcasts, or whatever works for you. And that all counts to me as self-care, because that's intellectual development as well as relaxation. And then when you have those opportunities of longer stretches, maybe you can do other things like go for a walk or take the turtle for a walk or something like that. That would take a while, but you could possibly do that. So great question. So if anybody else has any thoughts on that, who maybe is really into that, feel free to please answer Marissa, or you can even message her privately if you'd like to in the chat. So I appreciate y'all sharing. I'm going to go ahead and pull the screen back up. And if anybody else has a share that they want to do before we get going, feel free. Otherwise, we will keep cruising because we're talking about time. We have to end on time as well. So moving on from the breakout room, I talked about determining your priorities to conquer your distractions. And here's the thing. This is one of those little things. Think about those little things that can distract you. This is my wife's little joke for you. She would have put a picture here, but she was afraid it would distract you. But of course, the words are distracting. And so we have these little distractions in our lives. How do we fix those? Here's what I'm going to talk to you about: controlling your technology. We are living in technology right now. And so we have to be in control of it. We have to take those notifications, those little bing bongs that come along during the course of the day and say, oh, do I need to look at this right now? Is this an important text? Is it something for my wife or my daughters? Okay, I look and I say, nope, it's Discover card telling me that I do my books through Amazon, and when I send them to a school, I charge it to my Discover card. Okay, they're just letting me know when that's coming in. I can put that on the spreadsheet later on. What are your priorities? And control your technology. Don't let it control you. You have this power. Call of Duty, if you are video games, other games you like doing that, that's great. Playing them for 72 hours, that's not being in control of your technology. That's letting the technology control you. And I use that term because I know a guy, whenever the new hot video games comes out, he takes off 3 days from work and he will literally play them straight through. He will fall asleep with the controller in his lap. That's not healthy. So be in control of your technology. Don't let it run you. You can schedule things on a calendar, which is what I do a lot. And another tool that I do use my technology for is somebody's talking about going to sleep. Marissa was talking about going to sleep early. My thing is sometimes I have a hard time turning my brain off. Anybody have that problem? I use technology. Now you can use a notepad next to the nightpad. Oh, I got to do this and do that. Write those things down. That doesn't work for me. I send myself an email when my brain is like, oh, tomorrow you got to do this. Or hey, here's an idea. Make sure you work on this at some point. I send myself an email and then I know I don't have to think about it anymore. It's going to be in my email box. You could do a text. My wife does that. She uses Notepad on her phone. Again, that doesn't work for me. So use what works for you. That email, because what's the first thing I do when I get to my desk in the morning? Check my emails. And so if I had a great idea in the middle of the night, it goes on my list either as for something I can do that day or something I need to do that day, or it goes over to the high importance, high urgency, and it gets put in the proper box there. But I don't forget about it, and also I don't have to keep thinking about it. So be in control of the technology. Work things through to a completion. I'm really big on taking something, and when I sit down to do it, I finish it. So whenever I prepare for a program like here, before this morning, before I did this program, I had 2 schools that I needed to send out handouts to. So I sent them their handouts, and I also create a link so that students can access it through the link. And then I immediately update the PowerPoint so that I've got the QR code and the link in there, like I showed you all at the beginning, and the slide to make sure it's updated. And I do that all, and then that is complete. And then I move on. In this case, I moved on to the second school. And then when that's complete, I go on to whatever the next thing is on my list. Finish things, because when you do things halfway, then it kind of seems like to me is you have to go like, oh, where was I? Oh yeah, I need to dive back in and work on this some more. So work things through to a completion. When you pull that thing off your stack and you put it on your desk or your table or whatever you're working at, try to work it all the way through. Schedule your time. Here we go. Marissa, this might be an answer to your question. Schedule your time for study, for activities, for play, for self-care, whatever it is that you might need to do. These things are all okay, but it's a matter of how much time are you going to allocate it to it. And so how much time will you give over to watching a given TV program, or are you going to start binging? And so sometimes when my wife and I, we have that time. Last night we're watching this series of shows, a comedy detective show called Psych. Some of you might remember it. It's about 10 years old. And well, last night we said, we got time for two. Let's watch two. We watched two. Okay. And that was time that we spent together. So here's a little bit more. Here's something that I want to suggest for you, something that I do when I want to go to work on things, but also I do this like when I do retreats and other events for schools and organizations, is take out a piece of paper, write down everything that you could be thinking about that has nothing to do with what you're about to do. So if you're getting into working on a paper, or you're studying for a test, or like for me, I'm working on creating an online course. And so tonight is creating all the links and registrations and all those things that I have to do. I'm going to create what I call my thought page. And I'm going to write down all the things that I could be thinking about or could possibly pop up in my mind while I'm working on that I can't do anything about because I have to be focused. And then I stick them in an envelope. And then when I'm done, I can pull that envelope and go, oh yeah, I got to do these things. And so I will do those. Sometimes I will leave the paper there so I can add more things to it as they come up so that I don't forget that I want to do them, but I'm not going to do them right this second. So schedule your time, commit your time, be focused with your time, and devote yourself to those things and those times. And pick your spots when you can put these things in. So memory page, I think, is something that can really help you with planning your time. Couple more points, and then our time for today will be over, pun intended. Divide your work into small, short-range goals, even especially, your long-term things. Now, this might be, maybe if something's going to take a couple of days this week, okay? If you're not going to try to do it all today, remember I talked about working things through to a completion. What is the first third of it that you can get done today? Okay, do that, finish that, and then tomorrow you do the second third. Finish that, and then the next day, Friday, you do the last third. Split things up or put them in halves or however you need to do it. Use that high importance, high urgency grid to help you parcel out the pieces of the things that you need to do. And then you will find that, here's what happens when you complete something. Don't you feel good? Did you feel a victory when you get something completed? Yes, I do. And so I get this done and it's like, great, I got that part done. And I know sometimes I'm like, ooh, I should just keep going and finish. Nope, I got this other thing I need to work on and I want a victory over here. So I'll finish that tomorrow for when I have it scheduled. And that's how I break things up. And that works well for me. And you can break these up however you want. And that daily grading chart will help you to say, oh yeah, this was the thing that I put this part over for today instead of doing it yesterday. So it's going to have to be a high letter grade because tomorrow I got to finish it. So you want to make sure that you are always breaking things up so that you'll be able to go and you can see the different pieces. And lastly, in terms of these tips, plan your day the night before. I find that if I try to plan my day after I get up, it doesn't work. How many of you do, you wake up and all of a sudden life has happened and the momentum of life is going to take you and you're like a leaf blowing in the wind and it's like, no, but I have to do my A, no. Yeah, we got to plan our day the night before. When I try to do it last thing before I leave my desk, here's my A, B, C, D. This is what I'm going to accomplish tomorrow. Or this is all of the things. And if I don't accomplish them all, well, then these others will get moved over to Thursday. And I do it the night before. That also helps me to go, oh, yeah, I can't sleep until 9:30. I'm going to have to get up at 7 o'clock in order to get all this done. It helps me to know what's going on. And I learned this when I was in the mortgage business because the thing that I learned was as soon as I got to my desk at 9 a.m., which I did every day, even when I worked at home in the mortgage business, that phone started ringing. And so if there was anything that I wanted to be able to do on my own time, whether it was at that time I was, jogging and doing some other things, I had to get up at 6:30 in order to get that in. And then, I have these couple of things I want to work on. So I got to make sure that by 8:30, I'm working on these things because I know that the world is going to come after me come 9 a.m. So if you're like that, then plan your day the night before, and that'll help you to say, okay, I got to get these things done before the official day even starts. Anybody have any thoughts or questions on any of these tips? I got a couple more ideas that I'm going to share with you and one more fill-in, but I want to give you a chance if you'd like to comment on any of these 10 tips to go ahead and do that now. Feel free to unmute yourself or ask questions.
I guess I have a question.
Yeah.
You know, I when we were in the breakout rooms, I saw some similarities between, you know, some of us in the sense that some of us are extremely busy, you know, and balancing, you know, everything between family, work, life. What are some things like that I've been real curious. I used to use the Post-it notes, little, you know, reminders, little lists and things like that, but have gotten so much in my plate lately that I'm curious to find like the best planning method or software. Like, you know, Microsoft has like a to-do list. Microsoft has like a planner. Some people use a physical notebook, but for me, I like the digital world, and I'm curious to hear what people use or what's a good tool.
And if other people have ideas, please share those. You can put them in the chat, or you can go ahead and unmute and share with him. As I said, I really, with the tech stuff, the digital stuff, I'm not as good at that. My wife is great. I use the Google Calendar, and I'll put things on there as 2 o'clock, do this, and it'll pop up as a reminder if it's something that has to be done at a specific time. That is what worked for me. Otherwise, I have tons of envelopes left over from my time as a mortgage broker. I use the backs of envelopes to write out my daily grading list. And that way, when I get them all done, I can crumple it up and throw it away.
Okay. I think Carrie had something.
For work tasks, I use the Outlook task list on your Outlook, so because it does allow you to kind of set priorities, and then it'll flag something if you've gone beyond your due date for it. So I use that one quite a bit, and then they also things in the calendar. There's I can't remember the name of actually like planning out times in your day. So I do block time out in my calendar each day for how much time I want to be able to spend on something. So for work anyway, not for personal life, but for work stuff, that's how I plan my day out.
Okay.
For people that are wanting like an actual planner, so I've actually done a workshop on this for my job at Ivy Tech, but I use Happy Planner. I know Gwen does too, but Happy Planner, you can add pages, and they have add-ins that are specifically for every day. You can block out the amount of time that you need for certain things. There are pages that have that on it, and then on the other side, you can make like a shopping list, to-do list, and then it has top 3 most important tasks list. There's ones that you can keep track of your water, plan your meals, all on one page. You just insert into your planner. So if you're wanting an actual physical planner, Happy Planner is definitely the best thing to do. I make my to-do list on the inserts that are just plain notebook paper, and then I block it out for, I have those inserts that block out time. Yes, it's called the Happy Planner. It's an actual, I've seen Cynthia in the chat, it's an actual brand. So you can get it, Walmart is kind of, if you can find it, but you can get it at Hobby Lobby. Hobby Lobbies are pretty expensive. Amazon, or you can go to the actual Happy Planner site. And the Happy Planner site has everything you can possibly think of. If you're looking for different inserts, you can go to Etsy, and Etsy you can print out inserts. You just have to pay for them, but you can use that insert for as many times as you want. With the Happy Planner, there's just literally anything you can do with it. And then the weekly pages, there's like 5 or 6 different designs on the weekly pages, so you can pick out which one works best for you. So you do your research on Amazon is what I highly recommend to especially see the different types, but I definitely highly recommend the Happy Planner.
That's great. I had not heard of that one before. So some great resources, and I'm looking over here in the chat and some other ideas there. So Uriel, does that help answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Great, great. Appreciate that. I want to finish up just with this thought. By doing these types of things, by writing them down, by planning them, you're creating a sense of urgency. When you don't do that, it's like someone saying, I need you to get me something as soon as possible. Well, that's a great deadline, isn't it? No, what is much better is you write these things down and it makes it ASAP. I need it now. And you need to do it now. You need to get it done. You need to make sure that you're using your time effectively. In fact, it's all in caps. So I'm yelling and I don't even have time to say the words. That's ASAP. So make things ASAP. And what it comes down to is there's this old adage, a proverb. How do you eat an elephant? And I gave you some fill-ins, so you'd write it down. I want to make sure you got it before I give you the answer. I know a lot of you probably have heard it before, but how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. That's how you accomplish your day. I want to thank you for being here. Thanks so much for your participation. It was great. I hope those of you watching the recording appreciate all this input from the people who were here live, and I hope you enjoy going through this material as well. I'm going to turn it back to Carrie because she's got some announcements and I think some prizes.
Yay, awesome. Okay, so real quick, because I know some of you guys want to get to your other meeting and we're running about a minute over, so I'm going to share my screen. We are going to do our drawing for participation today. Everybody should be able to see my screen. So I've got everybody who is here with us today who's been participating all day long here on our list, and we are going to go ahead and spin for that $50 Kroger gift card. And it looks like Uriel. Uriel is the winner. That's awesome. So Uriel, I will send that gift card out to you on via email. So you should be receiving that in the next day or so. And then everybody else who was here today, as well as everybody who is attending via the recording, you guys will also be entered into a drawing as long as you watch the video by next week, by I think it was the 31st. If you've logged your participation by that time, then you'll also be entered into a second drawing for 2 gift cards to Chick-fil-A. And then we're also giving away 5 of Dave Kelly's books as well. So those will be emailed to your homes. And then, yeah, so everybody, thank you guys so much for being here. If you're here today, I have check marked you. You guys have RSVP'd, most of you, or I've gotten your email addresses. So I have logged you guys who are here with us live for participating. You do not need to do anything else. You guys have already been given credit for participation today. So I want to thank you guys for being here, and we hope to see you guys at the next event.
Bye,
Thanks,
everyone.
Carrie.
Thank you all. Have a great day. Have a great time.
Thank you for viewing the video today. We do want to make sure and track that everybody who's watching the video gets credit for participating via the video. So in order to track your participation, you just have one step that you have to do. You can either snap this QR code with your mobile device. That will link you directly to the link that's listed here. So you can also take that link and throw it into your web browser. It will do the same thing. It will take you to our Ivy Life webpage, and you'll see a little blue band at the bottom of the screen that says your participation for this event has been logged. So as long as you're signed into your Ivy Life, then your participation for this event will automatically be tracked. So you'll need to take a moment to pause the video, drop that link into your web browser, or snap this QR code to log your participation to be added into that second drawing for the 2 gift cards, to get added into the drawing for 5 of Mr. Kelly's books, and then also to show us that you're participating in this event as part of that Student Leadership Development Series certification that we're doing. So if you're watching the video live, please take a moment and do this step so that we know that you participated. Thank you again.
Thank you for being here today. And you will find a slide here at the very end that has my contact information on it. Please feel free to reach out by email. You can even call me at any time. You can also go to my website, and there's blogs and videos there that you can watch on a variety of different topics. So appreciate you watching the video today.
All right. Thank you, Dave. And we'll see you at our next event.
I'll see you 2 weeks. No, next week.
Yes, next week.
That's right. I'll see you
All
then.
right. Thanks.
Bye now.